Welcome back, everyone. This is going to be completely new for me because I am actually going to do a preview of BYU versus Texas Tech, or Texas Tech versus BYU. A subscriber actually asked me in my comment section if I will make this preview, and so I am just going to jump into this. I've watched the Big 12 because I'm a Colorado fan, so I've watched Colorado play BYU. I've watched BYU play other games. I've watched some Texas Tech games because I was making my college football preview playoff list earlier in the season, and so I thought, like, why not make this video about Texas Tech and BYU? So here I am making a preview video about Texas Tech, about BYU. Both of these teams present interesting challenges, I think, to each other, but they've already played before. And so one thing I like to do is I like to see how teams are at their best, and I want to see how they are at their worst and kind of figure out in the middle where I think they're going to be. BYU versus Texas Tech matchup is interesting to me because when I look at how Texas Tech lost the game they lost this year to Arizona State, one of the reasons why they lost was they turned the football over when they shouldn't have, and Arizona State was able to control the clock. And because they were able to control the clock, it forced Texas Tech to play a different game than they're used to. Because if you have watched Texas Tech play at all this year, the thing that they do very well is they maintain the football and they work the clock. And so their offense is very dynamic. They have playmakers, they can run the football. They're a very fundamentally sound Texas Tech football team. However, when you meet another team that is fundamentally sound, that is where it gets interesting. And to me, that is where you have to kind of look in the margins and see in the margins where things can be won. I think the interesting thing about BYU is their only loss is actually to Texas Tech. And when I watched that game, I thought Texas Tech played better than BYU. BYU had 3 turnovers. When BYU was finally able to move the football, they missed their field goal, and they just seemed a little bit off. One thing that helps BYU thrive is their running game. And when they're not able to get their running game going, they're kind of handicapped in a way, trying to figure out how else to play football. And so that's what makes this matchup interesting. I know a lot of people will say styles make fights. I think this stylistically is going to be an interesting game because I think talent for talent, Texas Tech is more talented than BYU. But I think if we're talking about sound football and just doing the fundamental things correct, BYU has shown that they can do that. It's just a matter of if they're going to be able to do that against Texas Tech. When you look at Texas Tech, they're top 5 in almost every single statistical category in the Big 12. So whether it's offense, defense, special teams, sacks, fumbles, turnovers, wherever you look at this Texas Tech team, they are top 5 in the Big 12. When you are top 5 in almost every statistical category, to me, that says that you're a well-coached team, that you are consistent, and that you are talented. And I think Texas Tech is all of those things. Now, I know everyone will say, well, yeah, they bought their roster. Everyone's buying their roster. Like, everyone's doing that, so that's not a big deal to me. But the truth of this game is going to be how Texas Tech handles this pressure, because now they're playing a BYU team that they've already beat one time in the year. I'll be honest and say I don't think Texas Tech has really been challenged much this year besides their loss. BYU the first time didn't really put up much of a challenge. And so there's a lot of moving keys and factors in this game where I'm looking at it and I'm kind of going, you know, this is going to be interesting to really see what happens when they get out on that field. Let me talk about some keys to this game because I really think some of these things are going to matter if BYU is going to upset Texas Tech. Well, hello there. If you're seeing this, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to double check and make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. Leave me a comment in the comment section below. And if you think about it, turn on those notification bells so you never miss a single video. I think there's going to be 3 keys to this game because usually when you play big games, these are the things that matter. I think whoever is able to get their run game going is probably going to be beneficial in this game because I think when your running game gets going, it just opens up your offense in so many different ways. And also when your running game gets going, it helps your defense really be able to rest and it helps the flow of the game a lot. So I think whoever is able to run the football is going to be super important in this game. I think the second thing that's going to matter, and this might be an end of the game stat, is going to be third down. Who is able to get off the field on third down and who is able to sustain third down drives. I think that momentum is going to be huge because whoever is able to get the crowd in the game, whoever is able to convert, move the ball down the field, I think that team is going to be at an advantage. The other thing is too, when I look at the game that Texas Tech lost, they were not able to control that time of possession. I know I said that before, but that is going to be a huge factor into this game because that is what BYU wants to do. BYU BYU wants to run the football and they want to be able to control the time of possession. And if they're able to do that, I think that's going to be a great thing for BYU. I think the other factor here is going to be who's able to protect their quarterback. And I don't just mean sacks. I think keep their quarterback out of pressure. Keep their quarterback out of situations where they don't force them to make dumb decisions. I think whoever holds up of that line of scrimmage is going to be interesting. One of the things that we all know about BYU is usually they have a pretty solid offensive line, and usually they have a pretty solid defensive line. They're usually pretty good in the trenches. It's really no surprise to me that Texas Tech and BYU are playing in this Big 12 championship game. I think the key, though, is going to be who can push who. In the first game, Texas Tech was really able to dominate at the line of scrimmage, and it showed in that game because I think Texas Tech looked the most physically dominating in that game against BYU the first game. However, it's usually hard to beat a team 2 times in a row. The first game usually looks one way. The second game usually doesn't look that way. And so it's going to be very interesting to me to see who is able to get their run game going. What do those line of scrimmages look like, offense and defense for both teams? And then the third piece of this is going to be that third down conversion rate. I think whoever is able to win on third down conversion is going to win this game. So whether that's BYU's defense taking a stand, Texas Tech's defense taking a stand, or whatever that looks like. I'll be honest though, this day and age, people are going for it on fourth down. So maybe I'll just lump third down and fourth down in together as to one down, because I think it's going to be important to see what happens. I think there's going to be 2 X factors for this game, and I think it's going to be interesting. I think the first one is special teams. If anything happens on special teams, either way, I think it's going to be interesting. And when I say special teams, I mean missed field goal, punt return, kick return, anything on special teams that happens, blocked punt, blocked field goal, anything that happens on special teams, I think is going to be an X factor because I think that's going to swing the momentum. So that's going to be super important. And the biggest neutralizer in all of football is going to be who is able to win the turnover battle. Whoever is able to win this turnover battle is also going to have momentum. And in these big games where momentum is a huge thing, I think turnovers and special teams, in my opinion, are the 2 biggest momentum swings. Pick sixes, things like that, interceptions, fumbles, you were hit hard, you fumble, whatever those things are, I think it's going to be super important in a championship game to who's going to win this game. And that is something I'm going to be paying very close attention to. I think that talent for talent, I think Texas Tech is a better team. I think that they're a more well-rounded team, and I think Texas Tech has more depth based off what I have seen. Would it surprise me, though, to see BYU come out and give Texas Tech a run for their money? No, it wouldn't surprise me. I think the only problem is, in my opinion, whenever you get down to like the fourth quarter, it all comes down to talent. And sometimes talent just wins out. It doesn't matter how you're playing and what's going on. And when I'm looking at these 2 teams, I think Texas Tech is a more talented team than BYU. I think Texas Tech has more weapons than BYU. And I think Texas Tech just has a lot more ways that they can win than BYU. And so for me, I see Texas Tech winning this football game. It wouldn't shock me if BYU found a way to win, especially if they get that run game going. From my thoughts, from my eye test, from what I am seeing, I think Texas Tech is going to find a way to win this football game. Wouldn't surprise me if it's a good game, but I fully expect Texas Tech to win this game. And I expect Texas Tech to make a statement because in a lot of ways they need to make a statement for seeding and all of those different things. But hey, I've been wrong before. So what's the worst that can happen? Anyways, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let me know if you like me making preview prediction videos for other teams that are not my teams. I would love to know what you think in the comment section below, and I'll see you in my next video.